Hi everyone, my name is Cyprienne, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make the medium-sized Country Charm Acorn. It's got a striped cap that looks very much like the granny stitch, but also looks great in just a plain color. So you can choose to make either one. I'll leave the yarn requirements below so that you have exactly what you need. If you're a beginner, this is actually a pretty easy pattern. This is just a single crochet increase. If you've ever made a single crochet hat, then that is pretty much what it's like. And then these clusters here are just made with double crochet. So if you're comfortable making those stitches, then I would definitely recommend giving this one a try. I do have a pattern for this on my blog, and it includes 4 sizes, goes all the way down to the mini. And this would be, I almost didn't include this, but I thought this would be the perfect size for, I see people making these little crochet things to hang from their rear view mirrors in their car, and this is a really nice size for that. And it's also just a really nice small accent on a table, maybe for Valentine's, maybe for Thanksgiving, with a little place card holder. And it would be actually the perfect size also to make a garland out of, with the acorns and maybe some little crochet pumpkins. But today I am going to demonstrate the medium size, which this is the small and this is a medium, and I have a large as well, which almost won't fit on camera because I want to be nice and close up, but this is a large, and I'll put the dimensions below so that you can decide if you want to head over to the blog to make any of these. This is also going to be available for download in my Etsy shop for 50% off for the next few days after I release the video, as usual. And I think that's all we need. So today I'm using a clover hook, a 5.5. This is a really, really nice hook as well. If you're looking for a comfortable hook that isn't as expensive as the furls hooks that I've been using, I definitely recommend giving this one a try. I have to buy these either in a big set from Michaels, but I do use my coupon when it's available, or you can find some of them on Amazon, and I really like the ones that have the metal shaft. I just find it glides a little bit better. The plastic can be a little bit sticky. I have a lot of problems with my hands getting really fatigued, and this is a great hook for that as well. It's got a nice rubber grip, and I hold my hook in the knife grip. So, well, actually, I've been switching back and forth. I am now an ambidextrous crocheter because I am having so much problems with my hands, and I wear a brace most of the time. But I find being able to switch between the two now makes a huge difference. So if you have problems, you might want to try that as well. Stuffing for later on, you don't need that to get started. I do recommend a stitch marker because we do work in continuous rounds, and I find having a stitch marker of some sort really, really helps. If you just have yarn, you can use that as well. I use that all the time when I lose my hooks. And then you'll need a tapestry needle for weaving in, and if you want to add some little bows to the top like I did on this one, you could use some twine. And again, if you saw my Country Charm pumpkin, I found these at our Dollarama here. I found it at the Mississauga one, and these are great. Like, they come in a huge pack. I got all these and I think they were under $2 or maybe $2. They weren't very expensive anyways. So that's everything. I'm going to put a full list of the materials below, as well as the colors that I used. And today I am going to be using the loops and threads. I've actually down to just little bunches now because I used this yarn for all of my pumpkins. This is the Loops and Threads Soft Classic. It's really affordable, and they have beautiful colors, and I do find it pretty thick, but you can use any yarn that you want. So if you have scraps laying around, by all means give those a try. Just make sure that you do adjust your hook size accordingly, because even though we're joining these stitches to close them off, you want to make sure that your stitches are fairly tight so that when you stuff your acorn, the stuffing isn't popping through up here or in the base. So for the medium size, you're going to need 5 colors for the top if you're making the striped version, or just one if you're making the solid. And you can absolutely use less or more colors. Over on the blog, I do give instructions on how to calculate the amount of yarn that you need. And I also have a stripe generator, if you didn't see on my pumpkin pattern, where you can upload a photo and it'll pull the colors from that photo, and it'll give you striping ideas. You can play with it a little bit. You can make the stripes thicker or thinner. There's an eyedrop tool, so if it's not pulling the exact colors that you want, you can go back and you can use the eyedrop tool to pull those colors. The one thing I will say, if you upload a dark photo, it's going to pull the darkest colors. So try to make sure that your photo is fairly bright. But if you only have the one, upload it and then use the eyedropper to pull what you want. So I think now we're ready to get started. Now, as you know, I do not usually do the magic circle. I use the chain 2 method, but if you are familiar with the magic circle, then by all means, go ahead and use that to start. But for me and others, I am just going to start with a slip knot. And then I'm going to chain 2, 1 and 2. And then working into that second stitch from the hook, I'm going to work 6 single crochet. And what I like to do is I like to work over my tail so that when I'm done my first round, I can actually pull on that tail and it'll close the circle for me. I just find that easy. I get frustrated with the magic circle, so I don't use it. Maybe one day I will. So let's see, I think I need one more. Okay, let's just count our stitches for round 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Perfect. Okay, so moving on to round 2, all we're going to be doing is placing 2 single crochet into each stitch. So at the end of round 2, you'll be doubling your stitches and you should have 12 single crochet. I'll slip our stitch marker in. Great. And let's just go around and work 2 single crochet into every stitch. If the video is moving too fast or too slow, please use the controls in YouTube and you can change the settings and you can slow it down or speed it up so that you're comfortable working at whatever pace you're comfortable working at. Okay, so we're at the end of round 2 and we'll just double check that we have 12 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Perfect. Now for round 3, we're going to be increasing by 6 stitches, and we're going to do that by working 1 single crochet in the first stitch. Let's just put our stitch marker back in, and we're going to work 2 single crochet in the next, followed by 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and followed by 2 single crochet in the next. And oh my gosh, I'm getting a hot flash. Who can relate? Give me a thumbs up in the comments. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna have to pause and put the fan on and grab a cold drink. So just go ahead and work 1 single crochet followed by 2 single crochet in the next, and at the end of round 3 we should have 18 stitches. So I'll go off camera, cool down, and finish this round. Okay, I'm back. So at the end of round 3 I have 18 stitches. Now, moving forward, the increases are going to be smaller, so we're only going to increase by 3 stitches per round. So for round 4, what we're going to do is place a single crochet in the first 5 stitches. 2, let me just put my stitch marker back in before I forget. I have discovered the joy of these stitch markers that are like the little safety pins because I used the other ones, the little round, these ones here, and they kept falling out of my projects, which was extremely frustrating. So if you've not bought stitch markers yet, I recommend these. They're really cheap on Amazon. Anyway, okay, so we're gonna single crochet in the first 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to place 2 single crochet in the next. That's 1 and 2. Then you're going to work 5 single crochet followed by 2 single crochet in the next, and do that till you finish the end of the round. And at the end of this round you should have increased by 3 stitches and have a count of 21. I'm just going to go off camera and work that round. Okay, so I just finished round 4 and I have 21 stitches. Now for round 5 we're going to be working a single crochet in the first 6 stitches. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, we're going to do one more, and then we're going to do an increase right here where the previous increase was done. So for this round, you can just continue like that and just make sure that your increases line up where your last increase was done from the previous round. So single crochet in 6 stitches and then 2 single crochet in the next. And I'll go off camera and meet up with you again. Okay, so I just finished round 5 and I have 24 stitches, and I forgot to put my stitch marker in, so I hope that you were smarter than me and put yours in. Now for round 6, we're going to increase by 3 again, so we're going to work a single crochet into the first 7 stitches. And 7. And then again, the increase is done where we did the previous increase. Okay, and I forgot my stitch marker again, so I can just go back to the beginning here and count back 7 stitches. If you forget to do that, that's the easiest way. So I'm not going to count from where I did the increase. I'll count this way: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that is right after your last increase from the previous round. So just slip your stitch marker in if you forgot, and I'll go ahead and work up this round, and at the end of round 6 you should have 27 stitches. Okay, I'll meet up with you soon. Okay, so I just finished round 6 and I have 27 stitches, and then this is going to be your last increase round, which is going to take us to 30. So you can see here, by not doing your increases as quickly, so using less stitches for your increases, we're getting that pointy shape that we need at the bottom of the acorn. If this was a hat, then you would be increasing by 6, 7, or 8 stitches to get a more rounded look. So that's just a little piece of info if you didn't know that. Okay, so for round 7, we're going to single crochet into the first 8 stitches. Let's put this back in. Okay, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then you're going to increase in the next, and you're going to do that 2 more times, and at the end of this round you should have 30 stitches. So I'll go off camera and do that, and then we'll meet up. Okay, so I'm at the end of round 7 and I have 30 stitches. Now what you're going to be doing for the next 4 rounds before we get to the top is just do a single crochet in every stitch around. So at the end you'll have 11 rounds altogether. Now, if you wanted a chubbier little acorn, you could do a couple of less rounds. And if you wanted a taller one, we can add more rounds. So I'll go ahead and do that. And if you lose your stitch marker, you can just count from the bottom here till you reach 11 rounds. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to go ahead till I've reached 11 rounds. And then you're going to want to come back with your coordinating or contrasting yarn if you're doing a solid or the striped. I'm going to show you the striped just because some people don't know how to do color changes, and I'll show you how I do mine. Okay, see you soon. Okay, I'm back. So let's just double check our rounds, and I should have 11. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Perfect. And I have cut my yarn off. Let's see. Okay, so for my acorns, I wanted to make a coordinating set like I did with the pumpkins. So the way I did that was I chose the 4 colors that I was going to have in every acorn. So for me, that was, it's really hard. I'm very close up, so let's see if you can see. So I had the body of the acorn, then I used the dark teal, the light aqua, the beige, and the cream. So these 4 were what I had on every pumpkin that I made. Now, I never made the mini in the striped because I could only use 3 colors and I just like them plain. So I didn't try that one in the mini, but I do tell you how much yarn you need. And then I picked the contrasting color here, here, and here. Now, another thing I wanted to show you, this was the first one that I made. And what I did here was I did the first 2 rounds in the same color because I wasn't sure how it was going to look with the 2 different colors side by side. If you prefer this one, this was done just by doing the same color for the first 2 rounds. Now this one, I changed colors every round, but I think I like this one better in the end, but I just thought I would point that out just in case you get hung up on detail the way I do. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to use the brown. I really, really like the brown as the contrasting color. So what you're going to want to do is just take that. So to do your color change, you're just going to start as if you're doing a slip stitch, and you're going to bring up the 2 loops on your hook. Okay, Then you're going to grab your next color and you're going to finish the stitch with that color. Okay, so just pull that through like that. Okay, now I just tie these off and I do it nice and tight and just throw the tails to the inside of the acorn because you're not going to see them anyways because this is the inside. I don't even weave them in. I just throw them to the inside and consider it stuffing. Okay, now what you're going to be doing is just chaining one and turning your work. Okay, now going into, this is your slip stitch, going into the first stitch, you're going to work 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. And then you're going to skip over these two, 1 and 2, and you're going to work 3 double crochet into that third stitch. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then you're going to skip over the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, and 3 double crochet in the next. And that is going to be the pattern repeat all the way around. And at the end of this round, you should have 30 double crochets or 10 clusters of 3 double crochets. Okay, so I'm going to go off camera and finish that up. Okay, so I'm at the end here. We're going to skip the last 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and we're just going to join to that top stitch there. Okay, we're going to do exactly as we did before. We're going to start that stitch, and then I'll be switching to the dark teal. Okay, so we're just going to switch here. Now, I used to be fussy about which side I was tying on, and I'm not anymore because you can pull them through at the end, the tails I'm talking about here. Okay. Alrighty, and we're going to chain 1 and turn, and for this pattern, the turning chain never counts as a stitch. Okay, so now what we're going to be doing is working into those spaces, and we're going to start with a double crochet into that space. And then we're just going to be working a double crochet down in this first stitch here. Okay, so we'll place our double crochet into there. And then we're going to go back into that space and work another double crochet. Okay, and then we're going to skip over the cluster and work into that space again. We're going to work a double crochet. We're going to go back down into that first stitch, place another double crochet, and then back in here we're going to place another double crochet. Now I should tell you, when you go down into the stitch below, that's what we call the long double crochet, but it's just basically a double crochet. Okay, so do that in every space around, the double crochet, then double crochet into the stitch below. It says the first. It really doesn't matter if you put it in the second. You're not going to be able to tell, so don't stress about that. Just keep going. So I'll go ahead and finish this off. And again, you should have 30 stitches by the end of this round. Okay, so I just finished that round. I have 10 clusters, which means I have 30 stitches. I've already cut off my yarn and I'm ready for my next color change, which is the soft aqua color. And again, I'll have the names of all these colors below if you want to do yours the same. For this round, it's pretty much the same with just a little difference. So for this round, we're just going to chain 1 and turn, and the turning chain doesn't count as a stitch. Then we're going to work back in those spaces again. So that's 1. Okay, and then what we're going to be doing is working into this middle stitch here. So we'll work that long double crochet into there, and then work back into the space, another double crochet. So the only difference between this and the previous rounds is that you're working into the middle stitch of the cluster below. So right back into that middle stitch there. And that's what you're going to do all the way around. Now, nothing changes after this until we get to our finishing round. Okay, so for this one, you're going to work 6 rounds in total, and then I'll meet up with you. And what we're going to be doing is closing this hole here and then shaping the top. So just change your color at every round if you want yours to be like mine, and we'll meet up to finish off the top of the acorn. Okay, see you soon. I just finished round 6, and I'm just going to join with my last color. This is going to be our last color change. Okay, and we're going to chain one and turn. Now, instead of working into this space, we're actually going to be working into the stitches, and that is going to close off this hole here. So go ahead and work a double crochet into that middle stitch. Skip over the next stitch and single crochet in the next two stitches. So that's 1 and 2. And then we're going to work into that next middle double crochet. We're going to skip a stitch and then single crochet in the next. So do that around the entire top of the acorn, and then we'll come back and we'll do a decrease round to start shaping the top. Okay, so I'll meet up when we're finished that round. Okay, now what we're going to be doing in the very last round is just shaping the top of the acorn a little bit. So we're just going to start directly working into those stitches, and we're going to do a single crochet in the first stitch, and then we're going to single crochet 2 together, and then single crochet in the next stitch, and then single crochet 2 together. So just do that for the entire round, and then we'll meet up and finish the top of the acorn. Okay, so you can see how it's starting to take shape and close a little bit. Now the last thing you're going to do is just fasten that off, and you're going to pull a really long tail because we're going to want to use that for closing the top. Well, I guess it doesn't have to be so long. Mine's about 12 to 14 inches, I think. Okay. Make sure at this point that any tails from fastening off are to the inside, and if you have any like bulkiness, just pull those stitches tight so that it's nice and clean. Okay, now we're ready for the stuffing. Now I pulled mine from an old pillow in our basement because I was making my pumpkins and I didn't have any, and I noticed when I put it in it was super clumpy. So if you're using something like that, I found just pulling it apart really helped with the clumpiness. Okay, but before we stuff it, I'm actually going to weave the tail in and out around the top of the acorn, because I find if I do it after I stuff, that my needle tends to catch on the stuffing and pull it through to the front, and I don't like that. So all we're going to do is just take the needle, I'm sorry that the color's a little dark here, and we're going to weave it in and out along the top of the stitches. Okay, so it should just look like that. And then you can pull it through. Now don't pull it tight because we don't want to gather the top of the acorn yet. Just do that all the way around. So I have run my tail of yarn all the way around the top, and now we're ready to stuff it. So this is where the shaping comes in. So you just stuff. Now when I stuff mine, I like to sort of put my thumbs through the middle and push the stuffing out, and then you're going to want to shape it as you go. And the trick is you want to stuff it so it's firm, but not overstuff it so that it's actually changing the shape. Okay, so just keep sort of shaping it as you go, and I'll need a little bit more stuffing for the top. Now the top can be a little bit tricky. I think what you want to do is you want to stuff it just to about this point so that when you close it, it folds over like that. And I think I'm about there. I also like to leave a little hole in the middle so that when I get my stem, it can go down. And now I can just pull it closed at the top. Okay, and then I'll just get the needle, pull this tight, and take a stitch or two at the top. And then what you're going to want to do is go down through the bottom, through the middle here, and squish it down. Like pull it and squish this down so that when you trim this off, the tail pops back into the acorn. So that is your acorn done. So just as a reminder, I've got 4 sizes over on my blog, and it is also available as a PDF download. The mini, I think, might be my favorite. It's going to be perfect for garlands and little car hangers and such. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to comment and give it a thumbs up, and maybe consider subscribing. And also, just as a reminder, I do have the matching pumpkin pattern as well. So I'll leave a link to everything down below. And again, thank you so much for being with me today. Take care for now, and bye-bye.